This is Channel 7's Eyewitness News at 6.
No, it wasn't your imagination. The ground really did shake here in western New York earlier this afternoon. Good evening once again. Topping Eyewitness News at 6, a magnitude 5.0 earthquake centered in central Ontario, being felt as far away as Ohio and Pennsylvania today.
There are no reports of any injuries from today's tremor. The quake hit around 1:45 this afternoon and lasted about 30 seconds at its epicenter on the Ontario-Quebec border. That's just north of Ottawa.
We have live team coverage of the earthquake today. Our reporter Kendra Eaglin is live at UB in Amherst, where she has been talking with the seismology experts there today. Also, Patrick Taney live in downtown Buffalo with reaction from city workers who definitely felt those tremors today.
We're going to start, though, with meteorologist Aaron McCaskey, who's been tracking the latest information from today's quake.
All right, thanks, Ginger. I have been following the USGS website very, very closely, and here are the latest numbers from the earthquake felt earlier today. It was felt from Wisconsin all the way to the U.S. East Coast. The official time was 1:41:41, so 1:41 p.m. and 41 seconds. That's when the earthquake started. It was a magnitude 5 on the Richter scale. Earlier, thought it was a 5.5, but now the update is 5 on the magnitude for the Richter scale. Felt 35 miles to the north of Ottawa. The most recent depth of the earthquake, 10.2 miles below the surface, right along the western Quebec seismic zone. Now, if we were to feel another one that perhaps was stronger, well, you want to drop to the ground, take cover under a table, something sturdy, and stay away from windows. And most injuries occur when people get hit by falling debris, so stay put until it is over. I want to show you this map. This is fantastic. Since 1990, all those little yellow circles you see on the screen, that's where earthquakes have occurred. And yes, there are earthquakes that have been felt here in western New York over the last 20 years. You can see where the one that occurred today, right along that fault line, so it's a very common place for earthquakes. That is the latest on the earthquake. In just a few minutes, we're going to talk about the potential for severe storms across western New York. Talk more about that from the outside in just a few. Back inside.
All right, good. Thanks, Aaron. Now in Ottawa, which is about 250 miles away from here, a live news conference on Parliament Hill today interrupted as reporters fled the room, which was clearly seen shaking on camera. Hundreds of people evacuated in buildings in downtown Ottawa and Toronto today as the earthquake hit. Now here in Erie County, roads and bridges have been inspected after the quake today. No damage has been found so far.
And at the University at Buffalo, they conducted an earthquake bridge test just last month. And that's where Channel 7's Kendra Eaglin joins us live to continue our team coverage of today's real earthquake. Kendra?
That's right. Well, coincidentally, experts here at UB had conducted an earthquake simulation actually just today, and they had no idea that they were going to get the real thing, as you mentioned, today. So today's earthquake in the Ottawa Valley being downgraded to 5.0 on the Richter scale. Now, the closest city to the epicenter is Buckingham, Canada. The tremor happened about 10 miles beneath the Earth's surface, almost 250 miles away from western New York. But it was felt here and all the way in Columbus, Ohio. Now, the reason those seismic waves travel so far is because the Earth's crust in this area is old and compacted.
This earthquake occurred 250 miles away, and we felt it certainly here in Buffalo, and we have reports coming in that they were felt as far of Columbus, Ohio. So, and this has happened in the past, where the footprint, if you like, of the earthquake in terms of shaking is much, much larger and longer, or larger distance than on the West Coast.
Now, so far, experts here at UB haven't reported that they received any information about aftershocks in that area. Now, there were reports of damage near the epicenter, broken out windows and power outages, and also in that area, experts will be conducting infrastructure checks to make sure buildings are safe. Live at UB, Kendra Eaglin, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, good. Thanks, Kendra. Now, this quake waking people up from their naps today, scaring pets, and even disrupting many businesses. A number of offices downtown in Buffalo rattled today, leaving some workers running for the doorway.
Yeah, Channel 7's Patrick Taney is live at downtown Buffalo and continues our team coverage.
Well, you know, guys, it wasn't so bad for us here at Channel 7. We're downtown, just a two-story building, but those poor folks who have to work on high top floors like at HSBC Arena or City Hall, as minor as this may have been, still pretty scary for those workers.
The minute it hit,
I never felt nothing like that before.
it was business interrupted for City Hall worker Victoria Dabney.
I was on the phone on a very important business
business call, and all of a sudden my chair started shaking. And the person on the other line was like, "Do you feel that?" I said, "Yeah, I feel it."
Offices everywhere, banks, government buildings rattled in downtown Buffalo, sending some workers rushing to the ground floor.
I was looking around to see that other people feel it too. Did you feel it?
Yep, we did too, but luckily this whole thing just a minor disruption downtown, nothing more severe. City Fire Commissioner Garnell Whitfield.
At this time, we have fortunately no reports of any damage or injuries at this time related to the earthquake.
No injuries, but still a lot of rattled nerves.
It scared the mess out of me because I didn't know what was going on.
And many people wondering how some of the older buildings here in downtown fared through all of this. The Statler being one of them, an old building you may remember a few months ago. It had some problems with crumbling bricks, but this tremor not enough to cause any further damage there to the Statler Towers. We are live in downtown Buffalo. Patrick Taney, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And people all across Western New York are sharing their stories about what they were doing when they felt the quake. Our Eyewitness News crews talked with some people in North Buffalo who say they didn't quite know what to think when the shaking started.
I was in there on the computer, on the internet, and I felt the desk moving. And I looked around, and I see, because I got some house plants in there, and they all were shaking, and it lasted for like I would say about 5 seconds.
I was just sitting at the bench working, and everything started to rattle a little bit. I first noticed the ceiling fan here that was shaking, and I got up to see what was going on, and I kind of looked around, and everything was just moved around on the walls a little bit.
Jim Anastasi at Hurdle Jewelers then started straightening the pictures on the walls. He says he thought it was just some construction nearby that caused the shaking, and he didn't realize it till later that it was an earthquake.
Now, luckily, no injuries reported after some bricks fell off of this chimney at a home near Oliver and East in North Tonawanda this afternoon. The homeowner, not home at the time, but the quake did create some commotion in the neighborhood.
There's a fire truck, the police are here, our chimney fell on the neighbor. My first question was, did it hit the neighbor or did it go in the yard? She's like, no, it went in the yard, it's okay. So I rushed home to make sure everything was all right.
Everybody totally ran outside. Nobody knew what was going on.
And just like pretty much everywhere else today, this homeowner telling Eyewitness News there was no damage inside of the house.
Now, sometimes animals have an eerie sense that something is about to happen, and officials tell us that a condor staying at the SPCA started screeching and acting strangely just before the quake hit, and other residents there seemed to feel the quake coming as well.
This morning, Scooter was jerking around a lot and screeching a lot more than normal, and we just thought maybe he was having a bad day.
And, of course, stay with Eyewitness News and WKBW.com for continuing coverage of today's earthquake.
In other news tonight, what would one candidate for governor do?